Hello, hello, Grand Rising, Galactic Jedis, Freedom Fighters. How is everyone doing out there? Well, first and foremost, I would like to apologize for the bit of confusion. I normally do go live on Wednesday nights. However, yesterday I had an important issue that came up that I had to attend to. So I had to reschedule my live for tonight. Life, stuff happens in life. So sometimes things can't always go accordingly, but it's okay. We're here. And I'm so excited. Today is November the 12th. November the 12th. No, Ishmael, it's not November the 12th. It's December. All right, today is December the 12th. I'm sorry, guys. I no longer operate in the third dimension, all right? Which means that I don't have access to, I live in the eternal now, okay? I don't live where I think about time anymore, the days of the week. I mean, that's all part of the third dimensional construct. So it is December the 12th, according to logic. And, on this very day, I do like to share an event that actually took place on this day. And I think you guys are going to like this one because we're all familiar with Leonardo da Vinci, right? Let's face it, guys. It was the Da Vinci Code in the year, what was it, 1998 when it first came out, or 2000, that opened up the can of worms to the world of secret societies, right? All of a sudden, people started learning about secret societies. They started digging into who the Knights Templars were. They started digging into the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and so on and so forth. And next thing you know, one thing led to the other, right? So on this very day in the year 1980, the Da Vinci Notebook sells for over 5 million. So on December 12th in the year 1980, American oil tycoon Armand Hammer pays 5 million for the notebook containing writings by the legendary artist Leonardo da Vinci. The manuscript, written around 1508, was one of some 30 similar books that da Vinci produced during his lifetime on a variety of subjects. It contained 72 loose pages featuring some 300 notes and detailed drawings, all relating to the common theme of water and how it moved. Anyways, that's all we need to know. It's actually about 5 paragraphs on that, but I'm not going to share that. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to my, Thursday Night Live. Oh, another thing I wanted to let you guys know, since we are on the subject of not doing lives on, set days, is that due to a family gathering, I was actually invited to one of my aunt's birthdays, and my entire family is going to be there. Now, for those that know my story, most of my family, I would say 80% of my family, disowned me, with the exception of one aunt. I had 9 aunts, because of the fact that I was, a free thinker, that I rebelled against religion. But after 20 years of not seeing my family, I was actually invited to an event. So this Saturday night, I will not be going live. All right. Due to that, I'm going to be seeing them after 20 years of being the underdog. They finally invited me to a, Christmas/birthday party event. So I'll be doing that this Saturday evening. I know you guys, look forward to these lives with me, hanging out with me and everything. But unfortunately, I will be attending a family event, and therefore, I will be going live Sunday evening instead. All right. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm going live Sunday evening just for this coming weekend due to a family event. Okay. Anything else that I would like to share before I give an update? Yes. Another thing I wanted to share is actually I wanted to express gratitude for everyone who voted for my book. Thank you guys so much. I do read the comments. Now, I don't always get a chance to answer everybody's comment, but I do read the comments as much as I can. Maybe there's sometimes the 1 or 2 that I miss, but for the most part, I do. And so I just wanted to thank everybody that voted for me for my book award coming up this February at the Concious Live Expo. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Now, for those that had not had a chance to vote for my book, I always now put the link in the description. So at the end of the live, just go to my description where it says book awards link, click, and then just scroll down until you see our cosmic origin. And that's it, guys. I would appreciate that. I've never won an award, and I would love to win a book award, especially for that book, Our Cosmic Origin, because the truth of the matter is that is my masterpiece. That is my contribution to humanity. That is the book that it took me over 10 years to write. So I took my time. I only wrote when I was inspired. But yes, that was a you could say a prequel to, of course, no, I'm sorry, not a prequel, but a continuation rather, a continuation to the Secret Government Invisible Architects. So for those that are new to my channel, welcome to the Galactic Jedi tribe. Welcome, welcome. I am the author of those amazing books back there, The Secret Government Invisible Architects, which unveils the truth history of the Cabal and the White Hats going back to 6,000 years ago. And of course, Our Cosmic Origin, which restores galactic history, cosmic information back to the Earth, especially now that we are living in a time where planet Earth is no longer under quarantine. Planet Earth has now been given the green light to become part of the galactic community. So everything in divine timing, right? I always tell myself, Ishmael, if I would have published Our Cosmic Origin even 5 years ago, people would have laughed at me. They would have thought I was crazy, or they would have just passed it as sci-fi. If I would have published it 10 years ago, I probably would have been burned at the stake. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, everything in due time. And yeah, so welcome for those that are new subscribers. Now, another thing that I did enjoy watching, for those that didn't know, there was a interesting debate that took place within the last, I guess I would say 7 days. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it, but I watched it, and because I'm in this field, right? Knowledge has always been my main addiction, and so there was a debate between Billy Carson and, of course, I think he goes by Wes Huff. Wes Huff, who is a biblical scholar. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Wes Huff, but he's been around the world. He traveled everywhere, studied all these ancient manuscripts. But he's a biblical scholar in a sense that he is Christian. He believes in Christ. So the difference between him and Billy, of course, is that Billy was trying to tell him that Jesus was not the Son of God, that he was just an enlightened person, and that there are no angels and demons. That the Anunnaki were extraterrestrials. But, I could see both sides. At the same time, I do understand that not only was Jesus Christ the Son of God, I've already mentioned this before, right? That he was the firstborn in the heavens, therefore he is our eldest brother. But at the same time, let's be real. We are all children of God, okay? Jesus was just the firstborn, so he is our eldest brother. He came to show us the way. So to make a long story short, all right, that was a fascinating debate, all right? I never thought that I would actually see Billy Carson debate anybody. I know that Jason Arcake, and I am familiar with Jason Arcake because many of you guys were asking me if I could have him on my show or if he could have me on his show. But I am familiar with Jason Arcake, who pretty much is another proponent in the field of knowledge and has done a lot of research. I respect everyone in this field that does the research, because we're all doing our best to bring forth the disclosure, to bring forth the Great Awakening as much as possible by restoring information back to the earth. But the whole point is this. That debate was awesome, right? If you guys want to get a chance to see it, Wes is claiming that he won the debate. I thought it was pretty equal. I think they both had very good perspectives, and I could also I could agree with some of their perspectives, but I could also disagree with some of their perspectives. But the thing about me is that even though they were approaching it from two different sides of the spectrum, I kind of saw the middle ground. I kind of saw how angels and demons could be the Anunnaki, and they are. I've said it before, but at the same time, it's a little bit beyond that, right? That's why it's all explained in Our Cosmic Origin. And that's one thing about Our Cosmic Origin, is that it integrates, it unifies, metaphysical knowledge, right? The esoteric tradition, extraterrestrial information, galactic stuff, and of course the Bible. Okay, it puts everything into perspective. So it would have been nice if these two guys would have added me to the debate. I think I would have probably done well, but I'm just throwing it out there. But anyways, another thing I wanted to mention is that before I start is that I do have a discounted Christmas rate going on for my courses, except of course my new class. My new class, Ascension 2.0 is full price, guys. This is going to be next level stuff. But for my other classes, for those that have not had a chance to take our Cosmic Origin, it's only $100. It's only $100 for 4 courses. Therefore, you're only paying $25 a class. And then, of course, Ascension Basics is $150 for 4 courses. Okay, with no further ado, guys, I do want to let everybody know that, and again, I always like to start like this because of the fact that we are living in unprecedented times, okay? I said this before and I'll say it again. These are the best times to be living in not only the history of our world, but guess what? In the history of our entire galaxy and the universe. For those that have read our Cosmic Origin, you know what I mean, right? This is not just about the ascension of planet Earth. This is actually about the ascension of the Milky Way, the restoration of our galaxy with the Andromeda as they re-emerge, and also about the restoration of our universe, our local universe, okay? But, breaking news, okay? Before I share what happened recently with 45, even though it's not White Hat Monday, let's just, talk about what happened recently, which is very good news. But before I do so, I do want to make a correction, okay? Make a correction, because last time on the live, I mentioned Adam Schiff, and I mentioned how Adam Schiff was, had to resign. But yes, he was actually taken out, and the White Hats replaced him with Adam Schiff 2.0 as a California senator. So that's what ended up happening to the original Adam Schiff. He was taken to Gitmo, then replaced by Adam 2.0, very similar to Elon Musk, okay? So Adam Schiff 2.0 is now one of the senators here for California. I just wanted to make that correction that he was replaced by a good guy by the White Hats, okay? But of course, the media is not going to tell you that, okay? They're going to make you think he's the same person. But in recent news, what's very interesting that just unfolded, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Mr. T, the undeniable force reshaping modern America, this is according to the Getzeller report, made an electrifying appearance at the New York Stock Exchange on Thursday, December 12, 2024. Which was today. With his wife Melania and daughters Ivanka and Tiffany at his side, Trump rang the iconic opening bell while standing proudly in front of his 2024 Time Parson of the Year cover. The message was clear. Trump is back, and he's ready to reclaim his place as the ultimate leader of the free world, a position no one has managed to fill with such dominance. But this moment was not far more than a ceremonial gesture. It was a coded signal to patriots worldwide. This was the public's unveiling of the next phase of Gesera Nasera, the plan to dismantle global financial oppression and return power to the people. So we had no inflation, and we had a very strong economy, quoted Trump, and we're going to do that again, he declared. But here's what the mainstream media refuses to acknowledge. Trump's reference to restoring the economy wasn't about mere policy tweaks. It was about ushering in the long-awaited global financial reset. Every word he spoke was a signal to those who understand the hidden workings of Gesera Nasera, the revolutionary plan to eliminate debt slavery, destroy the central banks, and restore wealth to the people. The U.S. Treasury has already begun auditing the gold reserves at Fort Knox, a key step in transitioning to a gold-backed standard that aligns with Gesera's principles. His promise of a tremendous run was an affirmation that the quantum financial system, the QFS, is ready to be activated. So, from behind the scenes, sources confirm that the quantum financial systems, let's just call it the quantum systems, because from what I understand, guys, it's all becoming integrated with Starlink, Space Force, and the QFS. It's all going to be one integrated working quantum system, okay? Working with the satellites, working with the Q phones, and everything else that they're about to roll out. So sources confirm that quantum systems are being activated to replace the outdated and corrupt SWIFT financial network. Trump's statements about economic rivalry are directly tied to these covert operations with secret meetings among world leaders, paving the way for a debt jubilee. Yes, right? Getting rid of all those loans and mortgage fees and all that stuff, and the introduction of gold-backed currencies. And of course, getting rid of the three-letter agency that starts with the I, right? The oppressive systems of the Federal Reserve and corrupt global banking cartels are being dismantled behind the scenes, and Trump's return to power is the keystone. So his confidence was unmistakable. America is heading for an unprecedented financial revolution, one that will obliterate the current system of control and empower the people like never before. So, the Time. So I guess he was featured on Time magazine, and that actually came out in the mainstream media today. So Time, he was awarded the Time Person of the Year, and he made the cover projecting the real Trump. So I would like to congratulate Mr. T for, becoming the Time Person of the Year and making the cover. All right. So behind Trump was more than just a mere accolade. It was a proclamation of his dominance over the global elite who have long sought to suppress humanity. The positioning of Melania, Ivanka, and Tiffany beside him was no incident. Oh, and by the way, both of his daughters and his wife are Pleiadian human hybrids. All right, that's why. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out. It's not just millennium, okay? Due to who he is, you could say that these three Pleiadian human hybrids were assigned to him. So even his daughters are, they're not human fully, you could say. So, anyways, the positioning of Melania, Ivanka, and Tiffany besides him was no accident. It symbolizes the rise of family values and the return of integrity and leadership. But it goes deeper than that. This cover was a signal to the patriots that the plan is advancing and victory is near. Even Time itself, controlled by those who once opposed Trump, could deny the obvious. Edward Felsenthal, the editor-in-chief, acknowledged Trump as a person. I guess this is the editor-in-chief of Time magazine. So he acknowledged Trump as a person who's going to reshape the American presidency and redefine politics globally. But what he didn't say, and what patriots know, is that Trump's influence is dismantling the very structures that have enslaved humanity for centuries. So his recognition as Person of the Year wasn't just a win for him. It was a direct challenge to the cabal that they thought that they could silence him. The projection of his image at the NYSE wasn't simply celebratory. It was a visual declaration of war against the elites still clinging to power. So Trump's speech exposed the catastrophic failures of the globalist regime that replaced him. We didn't have Russia with Ukraine. We didn't have Israel October 7. We didn't have the Afghanistan disaster, he stated bluntly. I guess this is, coming from Trump. These crises are no accident. They are orchestrated events designed to stabilize the world and maintain control. So leaked documents from intelligence agencies confirm that these conflicts were deliberately fueled to undermine global stability and distract from the financial reset. But Trump's return signals the end of their reign. He's not just cleaning up the mess. He's dismantling the entire system that allowed it to happen. So when Trump referred the lack of inflation and the strength of the economy during his presidency, he wasn't just reminiscing. He was reminding the world of the blueprint for Gesera. So the eradications of inflation, debt forgiveness, and the redistribution of wealth are core tenets of his plan, and Trump is the architect. His administration's success was the first phase of the reset. Now he's ready to complete the mission, with insiders reporting that secret military operations are underway to secure the assets required for the global transition. Reports from whistleblowers suggest that special operation forces have already seized hidden gold reserves from globalist-controlled bankers. So the bull that signals freedom, the NYSE opening bell, was no ordinary event. In the world of Gesera Nasera, symbols matter, and Trump ringing the bell was a declaration of liberation. The sound of the bell resonated far beyond Wall Street. It was a signal to patriots across the globe that the financial reset is imminent. The bell marked the beginning of the end of the corrupt financial systems that have enslaved billions. It was a rallying cry, a call to arms for those who understand that the fight for freedom is entering its final phase, hence the storm. So Trump's appearance was strategic. The projection of his time cover, the chants of USA echoing through the exchange, and the presence of his family all pointed to one undeniable truth. The old guard's time is up. Behind closed doors, high-level insiders report that Trump's economic team is already coordinating with foreign governments to ensure the smooth implementation of Gesera protocols. Sources reveal that over 200 nations have already signed secret agreements to participate in this reset. The QFS is ready, and the era of financial oppression is coming to a close. So his plans go far beyond economic revival. In his Time interview on December 14, 2024, he reiterated his promise to pardon those convicted in connection with January 6. It's going to start in the first hour, maybe the first 9 minutes, he said. This is about dismantling the narrative used to vilify patriots. So the January 6 event was a turning point, a moment when the people rose up against tyranny. Trump's pardons are a direct challenge to the corrupt judicial system that sought to crush dissent. On immigration, Trump's stance is equally revolutionary. He announced plans for mass deportation, emphasizing the military could be deployed to protect the nation from what he described as an invasion. It doesn't stop the military if it's an invasion of our own country, he stated. This is the declaration of war against the globalist agenda to erase borders and undermine national sovereignty. Trump's comments on Gaza revealed his disdain for globalist manipulation. While he expressed a desire to end the conflict, he made it clear that he trusts no one. A stark reminder that the fight against the cabal is far from over. His leadership is rooted in unwavering vigilance, ensuring that America's interests are always protected. So, what is his master plan? The next question is, well, Trump's cabinet selections and policy announcements reveal a clear strategy. Treasury pick Scott Bessent is poised to oversee the transition to the QFS, ensuring that the financial reset proceeds without interference. The promise to expedite billion-dollar projects and streamline approvals is a key component of Gesera Nasera, which prioritizes innovation and prosperity over bureaucracy and corruption. So, reflecting on this campaign, Trump described it as a 72 days of fury. This wasn't just a campaign, it was an awakening. Trump tapped into the nation's anger, exposing the lies and corruptions that have plagued America for decades. The result was a decisive victory that shattered the establishment's illusions of control. Reports suggest that Trump's team has already drafted executive orders to dismantle unconstitutional agencies, and that does mean the 16th Amendment. That's all I'm going to say. Starts with an I, R, the rest, and replace them with citizen-focused systems of governance. So the final word, Donald Trump's return to the NYSE wasn't just a media event. It was a declaration of war against the globalist elite. His every move, every word is a part of a master plan to restore freedom and prosperity to the world. So the bell he rang wasn't just the start of a trading day. It was the sound of liberation, a signal that Gesera Nasera is about to begin. So as the chants of the USA echoed through the NYSE and the time cover loomed large, one thing was undeniable. Donald Trump is not just a man, he's a phenomenon. And this phenomena is about to rewrite history once again, tearing down the corrupt systems of the past and building a future of unprecedented freedom and prosperity for all. Anyways, There's a couple of more things that I did want to mention, if you guys don't mind. I don't know if you guys subscribe to the Epoch Times, but this is alternative journalism. And one of the things that I did want to share that came to my attention was that the director of the FBI resigned. This is coming from the Epoch Times. Okay, again, this is alternative news, alternative media, very reliable source, the Epoch Times. So, FBI Director Christopher Wray will resign at the end of the Brandon administration, paving the way for Kash Patel, President-elect Donald Trump's next nominee for the position. The 3D printed ghost gun. No, that's something else. But anyways, yeah, just to let you guys know that the members of the deep state are slowly but surely being replaced by the white hats. So yeah, the swamp is being drained as I speak. The swamp is being drained as I speak. There was another article I wanted to share with you guys. All right, so this is a little controversial. This is also from the Epoch Times. News alert, it says, Democrats sound off for Donald Trump. So what they mean by that is that I guess some of these Democrats are pleading forgiveness. They don't want to be taken to Gitmo. But Senator John, I think this is it. Yes. Weaponizing the judiciary for blatant partisan gain diminishes the collective faith in our institutions, Senator John Fetterman said in a post. He said several congressional Democrats, including a former member of the House Democratic leadership, this week called for President-elect Donald Trump to be pardoned. This is actually coming from Democrats, guys. What does that mean? All of a sudden, the tables are changing, right? You know, some people don't want to go to Gitmo. They're being given, and these are probably just the lackeys. You know, now that I think about it, these aren't like the real high-end, you know, deep state players. These are probably just like the people that were bribed financially, right? Like that biblical quote that says, the love of all money became the root of all evil, right? Well, that's how they were able to buy everybody off. Am I back? Am I back? Yes, I am. Oh, great. Wow, I finally figured out. I think this is the third time that I was able to reconnect and not start the live over again. Apparently, they don't want me to read about how some of these Democrats, some of these Democrats are actually all of a sudden changing sides, and they're saying, "Hey, you know, let's pardon Trump, right? Let's get rid of his charges." So all of a sudden, oh my God! One second, guys, I have to drink some water. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. No, that's what happens when when you drain the swamp. You know, some of those swampy practitioners or lackeys or pawns, whatever you want to call them, they really don't want to go to Gitmo. So what do? Is they all of a sudden they change sides and they like Trump all of a sudden. So again, congratulations to Donald Trump for his victory with Time Magazine and winning that award. And another thing I do want to remind you guys is that the way everything's going down with the White Hats, in collaboration with PUTIN from Russia and you know, the guy from China and also the Middle East, is that sometime in, I would say, due to the fact that he is going to resolve, and he has already from behind the scenes, all of the wars, that Mr. T is scheduled to winning a Nobel Peace Prize. I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again because when it happens, I want you guys to remember that Ismael Perez mentioned it before it happened. So yeah, so Mr. T is on his way to winning a Nobel Peace Prize due to his ending of all the wars very, very soon. So I don't, maybe it'll be summer. I just want to say sometime in 25. Let me just generalize. Sometime in 2025, when there is no more wars, when there is peace all around the planet, Mr. T will win a Nobel Peace Prize for that, okay? And that's a good thing. Now, I did drop a bomb as I was reading the first article regarding his victory with Time Magazine and how he's getting ready to announce Sarah and Sarah. I did mention that both his daughters were human Pleiadian hybrids. Now, you guys are probably thinking, how is that possible if those are his daughters? Well, there is this phenomena, right? How can I say it? Where it's very similar to a walk-in. Okay, I'm sure you guys heard of what a walking is, right? A walking is when there is a contract between an advanced extraterrestrial soul and a human soul that sometime during a moment of their lives, they're going to exchange. In other words, they're going to swap bodies. So the alien, the advanced soul comes into the human body, and the younger soul leaves the human body. And that phenomena is called a walking. It's an agreement that takes place beforehand. Okay. Now, there is another phenomena that is very similar to that. Okay. Where an advanced extraterrestrial soul only allows for 1% of their overall extraterrestrial consciousness to embody a human avatar upon birth. But this is the thing. But as they grow older, as they become more, as they bloom, rather, more of their ET consciousness begins to come down into their body, begins to download into their physical body. So that is another phenomena that has happened. Perhaps even to some of you, right? Where all of a sudden, throughout the course of your life, you started, shifting your consciousness, your perception about things, right? You started shifting from being, in a box, a religious box, or being part of a society where you were probably part of the herd, right? Where you were following the masses, right? Like sheep mentality, as they call it. And all of a sudden you had a great awakening, or you kind of stepped out of that box and you began to explore new avenues. You began to become more holistic, right? You began to open up your mind to a reality beyond what you've been taught. So that's normal. Okay. So that's what happened to Ivanka. And that is also what happened to his other daughter. Eventually, more of their extraterrestrial consciousness began to download into their physical avatar, thereby making them more aware as to who they are. So that is something I want to share with you guys, is that Trump did give birth to some highly advanced starseed children. So with that in mind, I do want to acknowledge some of the Galactic Jedis. Kathleen, is it Maunich is in the house? Amanda Tempori is in the house. Claire, Pauline is in the house. Wolfman is in the house. M. Ellie 1111, I think that's what her name was. Project Skyfalls is in the house. Andromeda Daisy's in the house. Sylvia Vidal, Ricky Lee, MJF, Sylvia Vidal. Let's see. Tom is in the house, and everyone else. Over 1,875 people. Welcome, welcome. So again, for those that are just coming in, due to a family event that I am going to be attending this coming Saturday evening, I will not be going live this Saturday, but I will be going live the next day on Sunday. That's just going to be happening for this weekend. After this weekend, everything's going to go back to normal. Monday night, White Hat reports. Wednesday night, Intel update, or if I have a guest, or if I have some sort of a transmission from the Galactics. And then Saturday night, of course. So just this week alone, guys, things are a little, rearranged just because of the fact that I do have some family matters to attend this weekend. And yes, Claire reminds us, let's get 800 votes on his book tonight. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Again, my book, Our Cosmic Origin, is competing. It's part of a book awards pertaining to the upcoming event, the Los Angeles Conscious Live Expo, where I will be presenting on Sunday morning at 10, a new PowerPoint presentation, by the way, something that no one has ever heard before. But yes, my book is up for an award. So if you guys want to help me win that award, I'm going to put the link in the description at the end of the live. So that way you guys could vote for my book. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that support. If you guys have any questions, you know the drill. Capital letters so that I could bypass the chat. Ish, I voted for your book and signed up for your class. Question: if the solar flash comes, this is from Tony R. Welcome, Tony R. How you doing, brother? Let me go ahead and pin this. If the solar flash comes before January, will I still have to take your class? That would be the only exception, my friend. Yes, if the solar flash happens before January, then the answer to that is no, of course, because you are going to be fully activated. You're going to have access to your galactic history, your Akashic every lifetime, the quantum field. So all this knowledge is going to come back to you. So the answer to that is no. Let's see. You must speak about what those drones are. Yes, I have been speaking about this, Wolf Mother. Those aren't drones, okay? I don't know if you guys watched my presentation last Saturday, but I had a transmission from the Palladian commander, Georges Sedis Hatan, and he did tell me that right now the Galactic Alliance is conducting a lot of operations where they are making mass appearances. It's not just happening in the states. Um, it's not just happening here in the states, right? They're saying that they're drones, but they're not. The evidence is there. The way they move, they flicker, they move in and out of reality. They move at beyond the speed of light. These are what we call scouting ships, and they're being deployed by the Palladian Starlink Enterprise. Which is again, those are our brothers and sisters from the star system to the Pleiades. So they're also employing these ships worldwide. I don't know if you guys saw the footage, how a lot of these ships are actually coming out of the Pacific Ocean and they're flying over military bases. They're also witnessing some I guess they call it drones, but again, they're called scouting ships. They're really small. They're about the size of a car. A scouting ship is small, guys. It's not like a mothership or different types of crafts, but they're actually small. All right, it only fits about one or two people, so that's how small they are. So what we're seeing worldwide, they've also been located in Ukraine, flying over the Ukraine. They've also been located in the Middle East. South America is reporting them. So this is not just happening here in the States. This is happening globally. And as we get closer to 2025, as we get closer to the disclosure, there will be more sightings taking place. I do have a super chat from Kilted Carnivore. There was a huge upshot of chemtrails here in Colorado today. Is there anything being done about them? Absolutely. In fact, Robert Kennedy Jr. is very well aware about that. And part of his objective in this new administration is to not only get rid of all of the the stuff in the food, banning perhaps a lot of fast food chains, not just Taco Bell. Yes, Taco Bell will no longer exist. Taco Bell is being taken out, but he's also going to be tackling the chemtrail situation. So I would have to say that by 2025, when this new administration comes into power, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of this stuff being dismantled, a lot of this stuff that we don't like, especially the stuff in the sky. But yeah, that's all going to be in progress, my friend. Now, last week, I might have triggered a few people when I mentioned that Jesus could have had three wives. This is what some of the ancient records recorded. Now, I'm going to also just say that, we don't really know until we receive our memories back, until the ascension, until we are fully connected with our higher selves. Then we're going to have access to the real Akashic records. But what I do know is that he was married to Mary Magdalene. Okay, as far as him having two other wives, that could still be speculation, but I just threw it out there. All right, it wasn't like I believed it, but I did read different sources. I had read different various manuscripts, And some of these manuscripts, including some of uh, the books of the Nag Hammadi, some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, did talk about him having about 3 wives. But again, that is just speculation, right? So let's just not rule anything out, and just find out once we all become activated and get our full memories back, or at least have access to the Akashic. I do have a question from Jamie Levenway. Ishmael, what is the Ark of the Covenant? Well, the Ark of the Covenant is an extraterrestrial artifact, okay? It was a gift from the Syrians, from the um, Ozirites to be exact, also known as the Seraphim, the angels of the Bible. And the reason it was a gift given to us is because it's got multiple functions. First and foremost, it is an interdimensional doorway from Earth to the different realms, Arcturus, Andromeda, where the archangels supposedly reside, the Pleiades, Alcyone, so it is an interdimensional portal to other realms beyond the Earth plane. But it's also a weapon. It also has the ability to exert massive radiation and electricity in order to take something down or to destroy anything, especially large armies, right? As in the case of how the early Israelites would use the Ark of the Covenant to take down massive armies, okay? It's also used as a communicating device between Earth humans and the angelic positive ETs. Let's just call them angelic positive ETs, okay? So in a way, Wes was right. Angels are positive ETs, right? And Billy Carson is also right, but they're also aliens, right? Aliens, angels are one and the same. Good aliens are the angels. The bad aliens are the reptilians. I mean, the demons, or the reptilians are the demons. All right, better yet said. So that's why I said I should have been in that debate, because I would have been like the person putting everything in or integrating everything in the middle. But they were like two opposite spectrum. No, they're angels and demons. No, they're aliens. No, they're angels and demons. Guys. They're one and the same. Two different terminologies describing the same entities. Okay. Anyways, that is my dream. Why not, right? If I could just, and I don't even want to call it a debate. It would be nice to just have an open discussion on a panel between, me, Billy Carson, Wes, that biblical scholar. I respect him. He's done a lot of research. He knows his Bible and other works. And of course, Jason Arcake. And David Wilcock right now. I mean, if all five of us would just have a roundtable, an open discussion about things, I think that would be great. I would love to do something like that, because I respect everybody. I respect all of these people that have done massive research, just like myself. But it's also good to compare. It's also good to, see what connects with what. You know what I mean? Instead of just saying, oh, no, it's either my way or the highway. No, guys, let's have an open mind. Let's have a discussion. I do have another super chat from Be the Light. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hi, Ishmael. Is Earth being artificially held in 3D? If so, where is the boundary? Is space then 50? What happens with astronauts? Okay, so those are 4 questions. I'm gonna break them down so I could answer one at a time. The first part of your question is Earth being artificially held in 3D? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, the negative, the bad, the evil Anunnaki, they were using an advanced intergalactic computer system, which is an advanced AI in ancient times, to drop the Earth's frequency into a lower density where they could control our realm, okay? And feed off of course, our suffering, and all that stuff, right? As we struggled in life. But all that stuff has been dismantled ever since the moon Saturn matrix was dismantled back in 2021. Now, the second part of your question is, where is the boundary? I don't know what that means, but there are no boundaries. It's just, it's all frequency. Everything is resonance. So the way things are locked into a certain realm is by dropping it, so that realm could only perceive it and exist in a limited range of frequencies, you could say, right? where, instead of having access to the full spectrum of light, they only have access to about a centimeter of spectrum of light. So that is the way they quarantine the Earth, okay, from other dimensions, other realms. So there are no boundaries. There are only dimensions, rather, right? So is space then 5D? No, 5D is all around us. All the other dimensions, 4D, 5D, 6D, all the way up to 12D, believe it or not, they coexist all at this in the same time at the same space, in the same space at the same time. That is what quantum physics calls superposition. So it's all happening here in the same space. It's not up in space. It's all happening here, but in a different vibration, in a different frequency. So yeah, let me just reinstate that or rephrase that. All the dimensions, all of the vibration, all of the realities, rather, or realms, are all operating in the same space at the same time. They're just existing in different frequencies. And then the last part of your question is, what happens with astronauts? Well, it all depends. If the astronauts that were sent to the moon by NASA were told not to talk about what they really saw, right? When they saw the other side of the moon and they saw these advanced extraterrestrial colonies and different advanced human settlements by our own secret space program. So they were told to hush. But astronauts, or let's just say off-world officers that were part of the secret space programs, they come and go. They have fabulous resorts, colonies, or you could say homes that they have established up in space somewhere in Mars and in some of the asteroids. So yeah, they come and go. They come and go. And soon, all of those colonies, all of those bases, actually, that we've already kind of, installed, right? Well, not us, but the secret space programs. They're all going to be given to us when the disclosure takes place. So we're going to take over that. Now, I thought I had another super chat and just disappeared. It's okay. Kathleen Mauchi. I hope I said your name right, sister. Thank you for the super chat. She says, as humans, why aren't the cold, hungry, and ill being taken care of? That is a good question. And the main reason why the majority of humans have experienced struggle, suffering, let's just call it living the human condition for the most part, is because of the reptilian control of the planet. But now that the reptilians have been dealt with, and now that their human pawns are being dealt with, all of that is going to change. Like I said in the last live, even the least among us, even the homelessness, even the person on Skid Row is going to be provided with housing, resources, and really the ability to be rehabilitated and re-educated. So it's going to be a better world. What do you think of Dr. Stephen Greer? It's interesting that somebody asked me about him today because I actually started watching a documentary that he created, or he recently released, I would say, one of his recent ones. And I only had a chance to watch like maybe the first 15 minutes, but I think that Dr. Stephen Greer is definitely a good guy. I think that he knows more than what he says. And I also think that he's probably working with the Positive Alliance. And those are the good guys in the secret space program, which ultimately are connected to the Earth Alliance White Hats. So I would say that, yes, he's definitely not a deep stater. He's definitely working with the White Hats. Sunshine, thank you so much, sister. Thank you for that super chat. Would love to see you. Wes Arcakes and Billy Arcakes already extended an invitation to Wes and YouTube, but sounds a bit harsh. We'll see. Oh, really? Wow. Well, if you guys could actually have them reach out to me, I would love to be a part of that discussion. I don't mind. I don't want to call it a debate. Let's just have an open discussion, But these are some of the most brilliant minds in the field. I do respect Arcake. I do respect Billy Carson. And yes, I do respect Wes. I didn't even know Wes until this week when one of my friends sent me the debate, and he goes, "Ishmael, you should watch this." You know, and then he tells me, "Ishmael, you should have been in that debate." And I said, "Well, it's okay. They probably never heard of me." But in either case, thank you for bringing that up, Sunshine. That would be great. That would be awesome if I could actually be part of that discussion. I'm just looking for a question to answer. Um, I'm trying to pick somebody that I've never picked before, like maybe some of the new subscribers. I want to give everybody an equal chance here. All right. I'm going to address this question just because this is like the center of controversy right now, especially with that, that Billy Carson West debate that just took place. This is a question coming from CJ Mo. CJ Mo. And he's saying, Ish, can you say if you believe Jesus was crucified? Okay. Um, you know, even though there are some sources that claim that he wasn't, because of what I know, because of what I've studied, because I've studied stuff that goes beyond the realm of this planet, or it goes into the cosmic stuff. Jesus had to complete 7 bestowals in order for him to become the master son of his universe. So, in a way, you could say that the crucifixion was his 7th and final bestowal, therefore making him sovereign of his creation, which is this universe. So, I would say yes. I believe he was crucified. However, there are some people out there like Ashayana Dean and Billy Carson who believe that he wasn't crucified. That he actually survived and went over to India and lived, to be a very old age. But I disagree with that. I believe that there is evidence of that because of the fact that crucifixion or punishment by crucifixion was the Roman Empire's way of doing away with opponents or people that were considered threats. And so, why wouldn't Jesus be crucified? Um, that is a fact. Crucifixion was a way that the Roman Empire would punish their opponents. So, yeah, I do believe that he was crucified. And he had to be because he also demonstrated um, how to defeat death. He showed us the concept of the resurrection, right? When you're able to defeat death, that even death, is nothing, right? Once you are ascended, you could actually defeat death. And that explains why he returned back in his light body, his 5th dimensional avatar, which was still physical, but his apostles couldn't touch him, right? Or they tried touching him, and they realized that he no longer had the wounds because he healed. He regenerated, in other words. So he did show us. He demonstrated how to overcome death. I don't know if that makes any sense. So that means we could also overcome death, right? So yeah, I do believe that he was crucified. Sorry, clarity comes from contrast. What an interesting name. Clarity comes from contrast. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ishmael, you lost my super chat. Is the first wave coming soon still? Will the third shift still be in the spring? Any delays that you know of? From what I understand and from what I feel, I feel that there's still a strong possibility that the first to activate is going to happen sometime um, at the alignment on the 21st, 22nd of this month, because there is going to be not only a planetary alignment, but there's also going to be an alignment with the equator of the great central sun. Our solar system is going to be aligning with the galactic equator. So I would say yes. And yeah, I believe that if the first wavers activate due to the conjunction with the galactic core at the end of this month, or in the next 2 weeks rather, right? It's going like that. Then I believe that the second wavers, I'm sorry, are going to be activated in January, and the third wavers are going to be activated in the spring. But that's only if we are at the conjunction. That's only if the conjunction takes place, okay? So we'll see what happens. Oh, yes. Happy 12/12 day today, guys. Today's an important portal day. I don't know if you guys are into this monthly portal, but some people celebrate 11/11, 12/12, 7/7, 8/8. But today is 12/12. I hope you guys took the opportunity to really just, ground yourself, take some time off to connect with the higher power, source, God, whatever you want to call it, your higher self. And I hope you guys were able to do some light work on your own, because today is the 12/12 portal. Thank you for that reminder, Jeffrey. So again, as a reminder, guys, I'm not going to be going live this coming Saturday night due to a family event that I'm attending. So I will be going live instead Sunday night. All right, I'm giving you guys a heads up ahead of time. So I'm not going to be around Saturday, but Sunday I will. I'll be back Sunday night. Ishmael, sorry, didn't really understand you earlier. Where are the drones in the sky? Chinese drones or extraterrestrial things? No, they're not. Neither. They are extraterrestrial spacecraft from the Pleiades. The Pleiadians are executing these massive sightings worldwide. It's not just happening here; it's happening everywhere. So again, they're scouting ships. The scouting ships are rather small. They're could be as big as a truck, bus, or car, depending on how many people they fit. Some people fit 3 passengers, 3 aliens. Some people fit 2. Some craft fit 2, and some craft only have single person, and those are normally the ones that are like really small. But yeah, these are scouting ships. There's a lot of good questions about the Vatican vault. Um, let's see. Yeah. So somebody just said, "What happened to your glasses?" I think I might have left them in my car again, but it's okay, guys. I can still see the chat. What are the Pleiadians ships scouting? Oh wait, hold on. Let me rewind. Um, what are the Pleiadian ships scouting for? I think you mean to say, what are those scouting ships for? They're here to speed up the collective consciousness of humanity to prepare us for first contact. That's what they're doing here. Because they know the government's not going to disclose anything. But it might coincide with the White Hats disclosing information in 2025. So I think they're just prepping us for that. But you also have to understand that a lot of these scouting ships from the ETs are also exploration ships, scientific. They're piloted by scientists, so they could also be monitoring the Earth's gravitational field, weakening of the magnetic field, the volcanic eruptions. So a lot of these crafts that are scouting ships that are rather small are piloted by scientists. You could say agriculturists. Then they're just monitoring. So they're doing it for multiple reasons, but they're not cloaking themselves anymore. Okay, ever since the Earth came off of quarantine, they're just going full force. They're going to say, you know what, we don't have to cloak ourselves anymore. These people need to know that they are not alone in the universe. But for the main part, a lot of those scouting ships are driven by scientists. I do have a super chat from Nature Boy. Nature Boy says, Ishmael, where did you learn about the three waves? Was it from your higher self? Thank you, brother. Yes, this is a download that I received years ago when I was writing our Cosmic Origin. This is a vision that I had that everything was going to happen in waves, and like a domino effect. One wave would activate and trigger the second wave, and each wave would be bigger and bigger until we hit critical mass. And next thing you know, you had millions upon millions of people fully activated into galactic, fully conscious Homo luminous beings. So that is the transformation of our human species into Homo galactus, Homo luminous. Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate it. I see all the little hearts going up. You guys are awesome. And somebody just reminded us that even Dolores Cannon spoke about the three waves. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. This is coming from Amanda Tempori. Dolores Cannon spoke about the three waves. Oh, I think what she meant was the three waves of volunteers. No. What I'm talking about is the activation of our dormant DNA or our light body, which is part of our dormant DNA, coming back online, giving us access to our full memories, our full abilities, our superpowers. That's what I'm talking about. Dolores Cannon meant to say that there would be three waves of volunteers coming in from the 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then all the millennials that are coming in now. That's what she meant to say in her works. But no, this is a vision I had back in 2016. This is a good question. This is a question from Panka Patel. Panka Patel. I remember him from my class. It's good seeing you again, brother. Welcome, welcome. His question is, Ishmael, will the coming of Nibiru bring about the solar flash or be responsible for it? This is something that I've always pondered back in the day. And the conclusion that I arrived was that I feel that, yes, I believe that Nibiru is the second sun that we are waiting for in order to create the solar flash or to trigger the solar flash. So it is a three-step process, my friend. The coming of Nibiru will trigger the descendants of the angelic Anunnaki, which are probably the first wavers, those that are, I would say descendants of Zeus and Jesus, Mary Magdalene. And then in turn, those will trigger the rest. But yeah, I believe that the coming of Nibiru will trigger the descendants of the angelic Anunnaki who are here on the earth in human bodies. It could be one of you, any of you. And then that will trigger the sun, and the sun will trigger the second wavers, and the third wavers. So it's going to be like a chain reaction, all as a result of Nibiru coming back into our solar system. And even in the Bible, Nibiru is known as wormwood. Wormwood. Wondering what the significance of the arcs are. Are they connected to the archangels? Good question, Janine Keith. I don't know if they are connected to the archangels. That's a good possibility, but what I do know is that there were multiple arcs of the covenants. I think some believe 7. I believe there was only 3 though. And Mr. T had one hidden in Mar-a-Lago, and that's the reason why the federal government tried to raid him back. Was it 3 years ago? Now it's been two to 3 years ago, but they couldn't find it. I'm looking for a question. Yes, even the Hopi prophecies talk about the return of the red and blue kachina. Thank you for reminding us, Michelle. Yes, that's right. There will be no borders in the fifth dimensional reality. It will be just one world, um, but one world freedom, not one world government. It'll be a council within council within councils. It'll be us. The starseeds are going to be the leadership, the new, you could say leaders in this fifth dimensional Earth society. Once we have access to our full abilities and our superpowers come back online, we're going to be like the Justice League of planet Earth in the fifth dimensional reality. Yes, Monica Kalnagoski saying reports of 10 large drones flying over New York City recently. Like I mentioned, these are Pleiadian scouting ships, they're not drones. So, yeah, and I was right because last week they were just flying over what, New Jersey, I think, or yeah, one of the states, and now they're everywhere. So I told you guys last week, right, that they were going to be we're going to be seeing a lot of this, and it's just going to increase. So this is going to prepare the collective mind of humanity for first contact, and hopefully by 2026, when all of the disclosure takes place in 2025. Well, the red and blue Kashina. Somebody wants me to explain. Okay, so the red Kashina is planet Nibiru. It is also known as a dwarf star, and it's got its own satellites, right? Its own moons orbiting around it. It's got an elongated orbit or elliptical orbit, where it comes into our solar system every 3,600 years, and then when it's out of our solar system, it goes back to Sirius, right? And then it comes back every 3,600 years. Now, the blue Shekinah, on the other hand, that is a smaller planet, but it's also part of the Sirian star system. So I guess there are multiple Battlestar planets. Nibiru was not the only one. There is a total of actually 100 Battlestar planets within our galaxy. But the blue Shekinah is another Battlestar planet that was dispatched by the Syrians, and it's also prophesied about to return. So yeah, we are definitely going to have extra planets in the new Earth. We're going to have multiple planets within our solar system. And some believe that we um, might have 36 planets that are hidden already. I don't know, go figure. But I guess we're all going to find out. Yeah, there's some hidden planets within our solar system that they're not telling us about, guys. This idea that there's only 9 planets, that's a lie. There's more than that. And 2 more are coming back in. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot. Ishmael, how long will the second moon be orbiting the Earth? I believe that I don't know. It was only supposed to be here for 2 months, so I am not sure. Let me check. Let me check. 1 second. All right. So the second, supposedly second moon, which I already told you guys, it wasn't a moon. It was actually a spacecraft that was halted in here. Left us left us November 24th, so it's no longer here. So it was here from September 29th to November 24th. So yeah, it's no longer here. Somebody wants my thoughts on the Urantia book. Well, the Urantia book is a compilation of information that was transmitted to the Earth back in the 1950s by what they used to call the higher intelligences, right? We call them extraterrestrials, right? The thing about the Urantia book is that during its translation into the human language, it was actually corrupted. About 51% of the book became corrupted. However, only about 49% was left accurate, and that was the part where it breaks down the central universe, the super universe, and the local universes. Beyond that, the real history of Urantia, which is the name that they chose to give the Earth, the real history of Nebadon, and the lost teachings of Jesus, or the real life and teachings of Jesus, all of that stuff was modified and corrupted by the reptilians. So I would have discernment if I were you guys. When you guys read the Urantia book, only read the first part of the book, because the first part is accurate. I think it's the first section, but the second and third section are not accurate, which is over 51%. No, they're not using chemtrails to block Nibiru. That's something else. But yeah, the big gates has been using all kinds of weather modifying, cloud seeding and all that stuff to kind of also block the sun rays that are coming in. They don't want the CMEs coming in because the CMEs is what's activating our dormant DNA. What are your thoughts about history of Hitler? What are your thoughts, Miss, about history of Hitler? Well, Hitler was a Rothschild. Yeah, he was a Rothschild by birth, and not a lot of people know that. So he definitely comes from the Nimrod bloodline. He comes from a Illuminati bloodline. Yes, just like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons, blocking out the sun. Well, guess who Mr. Burns was in The Simpsons? He was Gates, exactly. They kind of look alike too, huh, when you think about it. Alrighty, guys. My stomach is telling me it's time to eat again. Yes, yes, I'm listening. Just give me a second. So I just wanted to remind you guys that I am no longer going to be going live this Saturday, but just for this week, all right? Just this week alone. Instead, I'm going to be going live Sunday night. So with that in mind, don't forget to vote for my book. For the book awards for the upcoming Conscious Live Expo, I will be putting the link in the description. And may the God force be with you all. We'll see you guys Sunday night.